Hello folks, and welcome to Telling Tinder Tales, the show where people get to tell their interesting dating stories with me, Chris O'Neill.
And me, Thomasin Lockwood. On today's show, we have 3 guests calling in from different locations to tell their tales, and then we'll get to ask them some questions about it.
So Thomasin, who have we got calling in today?
So, starting off, we have Harper the Fox. Harper's racked up millions of views across Instagram, YouTube, pretty much every platform everywhere with her hilarious comedy songs. Harper, say hi.
Hi, that's me. I'm Harper, and I am also the creator of the movie Cops vs. Whores, calling in from Idaho in the United States.
Amazing. We also have Philip. Now, I'm not saying an audio podcast is the best way to plug a hairdresser, but fun fact, Phil does my hair, and it is fantastic. And no, you will not have proof, but you'll just have to take my word for that. Phil, say hi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phil. Oops. Sorry in advance.
Where are you calling from today?
Yorkshire, love. I'm calling from Yorkshire.
Lovely, in case that wasn't obvious.
Okay, fine. Excellent. Finally, we have Alicia. She's the producer and host of CX Insider podcast, the show all about the customer service experience. I'm sure that'll have been very handy when dating. Say hello, Alicia.
Hello.
Where are you calling from today?
London. I'm from London.
Lovely. Like a lot of Londoners as well, Alicia, you know, she has many strings to her bow. She's a brilliant dancer and choreographer as well. It really feels like an all singing, all dancing podcast today. We've got someone in to do the hair as well. It's going to be a great show.
It's theatrical in the extreme. Well, let's get into it. Harper, would you like to tell us your story, and we'll let you have the floor. Thank you.
I'd love to get right into it. So this is the story of how a man who almost lost me my job and showed up to a first date wearing toe shoes became my husband and creative partner. So I, for context, was a very late bloomer in the dating scene. Didn't go on my first date until I was 19 years old. And coming from 2 very unsuccessful relationships, was off to spend a summer in New York City and was determined to just go on as many dates as I humanly could. So I got myself on OkCupid and started just matching with everybody and setting up a whole summer lineup of dude after dude after dude after dude that I could date. And so very much looking for fun. I wasn't from New York, had 0 plans to go back ever. So this was the definition of seeking summer flings. So in that spirit, the second person that I met up with was Max, who showed up. He set up this whole lineup of seeing the sights in New York City. So I met up with Max. We met in Times Square, right in front of the TKTS booth. So very sort of cinematic meeting. I see this guy walking towards me with honestly, Ryan Gosling angular features, such a handsome dude. And then I look down and there's just cargo shorts, for one, and these black Vibram toe shoes that are just this this black foot. Very, very odd. And that gave me about a half second of pause. But this guy completely captivated me immediately. Just total goofball, having so much fun. We went to Central Park. He laid out a blanket for me because I told him I had a grass allergy. I started talking about the movies and art and music that we love and had so much in common, both huge fans of South Park, and went and got hot dogs, just super classic New York thing. And the date went on and on, just walking all over the city. We went to this pretty fancy Japanese restaurant, and I had no idea when they put down a small glass of something they called sake in front of me. Mm-hmm. I had no idea what that was. So I just downed it like a shot.
No.
And wait a second, looking around me that doesn't seem like it was the move. So despite that, Max was still into me. And we went and found a park to go make out in for a little while, went back to his, and he actually had to check with one of his roommates to see if he had the bed for the night, because they had 3 grown men comics living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and his all the time bed was like a lofted bed in the main living space, but he often got to use one of the rooms. So he had to call his roommate and say like, hey, like I got this girl. Do I have a bed? So good news, he had the bed and we used it. And the next morning, I wildly miscalculated the travel time to get from New York City back to the city in New Jersey where I was starting my job as a nanny. It was my first day of work.
Of course.
And I made the parents who hired me wildly late for every work commitment they had that day because I just got stuck on bus after bus, and then I missed the stop to get to their house and had to bus back to their house. And I nearly lost my job because I had way too much fun with Max. And but worked it out, kept seeing him all through the summer, and by the end of the summer realized, oh man, this is actually pretty awesome. We really like what's going on here. So he asked me how I'd feel about him moving out to my college town in Washington State and spending some time with me there. So we did long distance for a few months. He moved out to be closer to me, and the rest is history. We've had a completely wild ride of a relationship, but we are married, have 2 kids, and have been partners in romance and creative partners ever since. We have always worked together and made crazy oddball stuff together. And that is my story.
Wow.
Yay.
That is an excellent story. That's unrelentingly happy and joyful. Well done on that one. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So, I suppose toe shoes. I for a moment didn't realize what toe shoes were. Now I do realize they're sort of an alternative.
Yeah, they're
alternative to skin.
Total aphrodisiac, right?
So yeah, I mean, did he explain why he turned up trying to impress a woman wearing essentially feet dyed black?
You know, it's honestly something I appreciate about the man is he didn't exactly turn up trying to impress me. He was just like, these are the shoes I like. These are the shoes I wear. So it's sort of a get with it or move on kind of thing. Like if toe shoes are going to be the deal breaker, I am not the woman to be with this man.
Okay.
So,
Thomasin, have you a question for Harper?
I think it's a great story, but it's very romantic. I just love how he had to call up his friends and ask for use of the big bed. I can imagine being like,
whose bed was it?
Like only if it's my turn to use to wear the shoes. You know? Like, are they all just sharing outfits? Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I'm going to steal that question, Phil. Whose bed was it? How was your reaction? Tell me more about that. Did they have a rota?
Okay, so I perhaps at the time should have had slightly higher standards at the for that moment because it just didn't even concern me for a second that we were using someone else's bed. But it was his roommate who was another like New York comic dude, and yeah, it just I was down enough and ready enough that it just didn't even cross my mind.
Was it well made? The bed?
It was beautifully made. Yeah, that the roommate is as I got to know him over the summer, a very sort of neat, fastidious guy, which is great because the other roommate was a literal garbage hoarder. You open the door to the other roommate's room and it was just like Doritos bags and Monster Energy drinks and just a sea of literal trash and dirty laundry leading up to a bed with no sheets on it at all, just a mattress. So just one of the most horrifying bedrooms I've ever seen.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if the other roommate had been at home and the roommate that was a trash whore with the monster cans, etc., had been out that evening, and I'm just kind of imagining the WhatsApp group between the flatmates and they say, who's at home tonight? And Monster Trash Whore says, I'm not at home tonight, use my bed. Would you, Harper the Fox, have used that bed?
You know, I would say 20-year-old Harper the Fox probably would have used that bed.
We love an honest queen.
You know?
There's no grass on it. What's the worst that can happen?
Alicia, have you a question for Harper?
I think maybe now, is it so spontaneous? I mean, have you managed to keep that excitement and the wildness, the unknowing of where it's going to be next?
Well, we're both still a little nuts, I'd say. We have had to get a great deal more responsible because now we have 2 kids that we need to keep happy, healthy, and alive. But we are actually currently out in my driveway. I can see we're working on a camper and a van to take our whole family out to live on the road for at least a year. So the adventures continue.
Wow.
But they're, I would say I'm probably barefoot actually.
Oh.
Just try and avoid the scorpions.
Okay.
But a little more tuned into the potential for disease, but still very open to adventure.
I have another question or observation.
Oh, please.
So, if I rocked up to work on my first day late, incredibly late, I probably wouldn't see the end of the day with that job. So these people must have been really desperate for a nanny. And more importantly, how long did they keep you on?
That or they didn't love their kids.
Okay, all fair points. And yeah, you have nailed it. These people very much needed a nanny. And I am also related to them. They are my cousins. So I think they were very willing to give me a second chance and just accept, like, you are a 20-year-old idiot. Let me give you a huge reality check and hope that you take this well. So I did. I felt terrible about it. And they kept me on for the whole summer. And I was never late again.
Oh, very good. Impressive. Can I ask one question? Did you invite them to the wedding?
Oh, so the wedding actually happened pretty recently in February of 2021. So during COVID times,
right, okay.
nobody was
yeah.
invited. You know what? Over the course of that summer, Max did meet them with me several times and helped take care of their daughter and was very charming, totally won them over. So they didn't hold it against him.
Love it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Won them round with that charm. Before we move on to our next story, Alicia, did you have any final questions or thoughts?
No, no more. Everything's been said.
You've gotten all the juicy details.
It's the first time I've had a guest say, no more.
I can't hear another disgusting detail of this American's life.
No.
Right, this is lovely.
Just stop.
Thank you so much. Wow, what,
That was a great
what
story.
A fantastic opening, right, Chris? Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous.
Well, right, let's move on to our next tale. Phil, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
So you've got a choice here. You can have the despicable one where I cringe about what I did, or you can have the lovely one that is current.
Well, we'd have to go despicable, having had such a lovely one from Harper. You need to look awful. Go ahead.
Thank you. You're welcome, everybody. When I lived in London, I went out with a group of friends, and queuing in nightclubs was just not the dumb thing. I couldn't be bothered in essence. So my way of getting into nightclubs was to flirt with the security guards. Now, fickle finger of fate, some are straight and some are not. So FYI, this one just happened to be gay. So I thought, okay, walk up, say, hi, how you doing? I wonder how long the queue's going to be this evening. Would you let us in? And this guy who was so full of it was like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. How are you? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Do you think my friends and I can get in the club? And he said to me quite blatantly, yeah, you can get in the club if you go on a date with me. So I said, okay. And he said, give me your phone. So I gave him my phone. And he rung his number, and he had my number. This guy was about 6'5", really tall, typical bouncer looks, all in black with a long black coat, not cloak. He wasn't a vampire, and white shirt, typical. Loads of guys around him, very Johnny Big Bananas, and I just thought nothing of it. We went to the club, we had a good night. Next day, I got a call. About 10 in the morning. I didn't answer the call. I'd kind of figured who it was. Then I got a text message. Then I got another text message. Then I got another text message. I thought, right, 3 text messages down. I'd made a promise. I should really try and keep to this promise. So I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell anybody, which in hindsight was probably a very stupid thing to do. However, I didn't want to let any of my friends know that I was actually going on a date with the bouncer from this nightclub that scared the fuck out of me. Why did he scare the fuck out of me? Because he looked like a serial killer. Anyway, we decided to meet in Leicester Square, and we were going to go for something to eat, and we were going to the cinema. That makes me feel sick already, because going to the cinema on your first date is just wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But I decided to go. And instead of going for something to eat, we walked to somebody's flat. When we walked to this flat, he was telling me this story about how he looks after young men and helps them get council flats in London. And I was like, so the red flags are already flashing here. But I carried on. I went to this guy's flat. I looked at this flat. I said, oh, it's really nice view. Whilst I'm doing that and talking to this guy, Mr. whatever his name is, and I cannot remember his name, but for want of a better word, let's call him Chopper. I'll explain why later. Was getting stoned. So he had a full-on spliff whilst I was looking out on this balcony. I didn't have anything. I should have maybe had something of that spliff in order to get through the day, but I didn't. So he was slightly tanked. I was relatively sober, and we walked to the cinema where we watched the film Master and Commander. All the way through the film, he talked. All the way through the film, he felt my leg. All the way through the film, he tried to grope me. And all the way through the film, he just breathed on me with his stinky marijuana breath, and it drove me insane. We finished the film, and he said, so where would you like to go for dinner? I said, surprise me. And he said, right, well, my favourite restaurant is round the corner. It was Burger King.
Oh, come on.
So we went to Burger King. We sat in Burger King, and this man told me about who his idol was. His idol was a guy called Mark Chopper Reed, who is a serial killer in Australia. This guy has based his whole life on this guy. Haircut, clothes, everything. He's obsessed with him. So I'm slowly getting more and more worried, because I don't know what I'm entering into here, but I'm already getting the serial killer vibes. I'm already getting this kind of strange vibe from him that I don't know what to do. So I sat through the Burger King. I then went to the toilet. When I came back from the toilet, that was the moment I knew I had to run. So, I'm not proud of this, because I should have actually just gone up and said, this is the end of the day. I just ran out of the Burger King and ran home.
All the way?
No, not all the way. I ran to the Tube, obviously. I ran to Leicester Square Tube. But that evening, I took the SIM card out of my phone. I chopped it in half, and I never, ever, ever saw him again.
Wow.
Now, I'd
my
love to
God.
say that was exaggerated, but it wasn't. And that's the problem.
My gosh. Thank you. My God. I feel like the search engine results for Mark Chopper Reed are about to go through the roof after this episode. Thank you for that tale. My God, that is despicable. Wow. Okay. All right. My first question is actually about the cinema. And
Yes.
you said he talked all the way through the film.
Yes.
And for me, talking through cinema etiquette is just, if I was a patron in that cinema, I'd be going up to him, not knowing that he'd modeled himself in a serial killer, and being like,
Yeah.
hey, shut up. So what was he? Was he like, man, this is a great movie. What do you think's going to happen next? Or was it more like, oh, I want to take you back to my, like, what was he even saying?
So this whole cinema room was quite small and quite empty. So nobody was there to kind of say, excuse me, can you shut up?
Oh, no.
Apart from me, really. And I was a bit intimidated by that point, but just kind of kept being polite and nod. The thing is, the film was really good. And I was really enjoying the film. But I think because he was stoned, he probably was on a bit of a different level to me, actually, in truth. Yeah.
I feel like I'd be like, oh, that's a great point. But man, the movie is really, wow, what's going to happen next? Maybe we should be quiet and stop being weird. Wow, Chris, any questions for Phil?
First of all, no, I first of all don't think you were even slightly despicable, to be perfectly honest. I think you had decent self-preservation skills and well used. Running, I mean, there is a reason called fight or flight, and fight doesn't arise when the person you're fighting is 6'6" and a trained. So flight is your only option, and you did well. And I think running away and your comprehensive destruction of all evidence of contact, it did, I suppose, mean you never went back to that nightclub again. Is that right?
Never went back to that nightclub again. I can tell you exactly where it is in Camden. I never went back to that nightclub.
Which one is it? I'm wondering if it's still open.
It was Coco's.
It was not Coco.
Yeah, it was Coco's.
Ah, that's a nice club as well.
I know, right?
No wonder you wanted to get in.
Well, yeah, and also, you got that bit of bravado when you're drunk, and you're like, I can get us in.
Yeah.
I can get us in.
I had to skip the line at Coco. It only cost me my life.
I just became the victim of a serial killer.
Yeah. I've got connections. I'm just cool like that.
And my own enthusiasm. Yes, exactly.
Oh, God. Alicia, did you have any questions?
I do. Why didn't you run as soon as he texted you at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. I've always wondered about this one, and I've always tried to rationalise this in my head, and I'm going to give you a rationale, but I don't think it's valid.
I'm about to lie.
My mum's always said, when you make a promise, you have to stick to it.
All right.
And even if you don't want to do that promise, you have to stick to it. Now, luckily, I've never said to anybody, yeah, I'll give you £10,000 and just give them it. Or, yeah, I'll sleep with you. But I kind of thought, what's the harm in a date? And also...
So can I ask as well, who paid?
For the Burger King.
Did this man take your money and give you serial killer vibes, or did you like...
The weird thing was... there's nothing really at Burger King that I can eat because I was vegetarian at the time. So I think I might have just had chips and a milkshake. I'm going to say he paid for the theatre and I paid for the Burger King. That probably sounds about right by me, but I don't really know, if I'm honest.
And then someone else pays for the coffin.
Harper, any questions, observations?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I'm wondering when you tell me that someone has modeled their entire look after a serial killer.
Yes.
I jump to like severely overweight, pasty, balding, horrible glasses, like just all these things. But then you describe this like 6'5" bouncer. Like, is this guy a cute serial killer?
So, yes and no, and yes, no. But you know that time when you're queuing for a nightclub is probably the time when you've probably drank far too much, so everybody looks great. Yeah? And also, because he was really tall, I didn't really see the top of his head. And black is a very slim in colour.
Yeah, I feel short-sighted.
Fair enough.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. That was a worrying story.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Alicia, do you want to tell us your tale, please?
I'm going to sound like boring after that.
Good.
No serial killers for me. So, I've just finished my A-levels, which are the exams that you take at the end of the year. And I've gone to a lovely, classy little place called Faces, which is not a classy place. And it's basically just a rough club. And so I've gone to this party, I'm celebrating, I've gotten into my top choice university, I'm happy, I'm drunk, and I'm loving life. And I'm there with my best friends, and I see another best friend. This is a guy. And I'm chatting to him, and as I'm talking to him, this gorgeous 6 foot something, 6'4", gorgeous man walks past me. And I just go to my friend, he's gorgeous. Later on, I see them talking, so I pull him away from him and I say, you need to introduce us right now, because that is a tall drink of water. Like, he was everything my dreams are made of. He goes, oh yeah, you're actually going to the same university. I'm like, wow, jackpot, I'm in. And he's giving me dead chat. I'm thinking, I look good tonight. I don't know what's wrong with him. I'm in a black leather miniskirt, tits are out. I'm looking great. And he's just being so dead. And we end up leaving the conversation. Nothing came of it. I later on realised, I find out that he's got a girlfriend. So he was good. Nothing else happened from that point in time. I was like, he's got a girlfriend. I'm going to university. Let the life begin. Anyway, so I bump into him again at uni, as you do. And this is another lovely place where dreams are made of. Spoons. Weatherspoons.
For our listeners from maybe not the UK, how would you describe Spoons?
Weatherspoons is the pub where everyone goes. They're everywhere in the UK. There are about 10 spoons on the high street. It's sticky floors and beer smell everywhere.
It's the Burger King.
It's the Burger King of pubs, exactly. So anyway, so I've just gone there with my friends. This is months later, by the way. I've gone there with my friends, and I'm walking up to the toilets, and he's coming down the stairs, and I'm a little bit drunk, and I've got some great drunk eyes. So I don't know really what came over me. I stuck out my hand, like, for him to kiss it or something. So I gave him my hand, and I was like making intense eye contact with him, and he held it. He was holding on to my hand. He did not let go. So I'm starting to get like crush feelings now. I'm like, okay, he's really cute. And I don't even know what we talked about. It was a passing conversation. We again left. Nothing else further happened. This story is very much like kind of we met like if you believe in the sort of like 3-time meet up kind of thing, or the invisible string theory, it's very much like that. Months go by again, and I see him at my student union, which is the club at my university, and I'm looking at him across the bar, trying to make eye contact, trying to get his attention, and again he's just kind of like wishy-washy. And I'm with my best friend at uni, and this girl is gorgeous, and she was on a rampage. She was looking for someone, and we kind of head over, and she goes to me, who's that guy? And I just went, back off. Back off. I know him from home. This has been a work in the making for months now. You're not stepping him. Anyway, so she ends up getting with his best mate and shagging his best mate. But
Perfect.
Anyway, so we're chatting, and his friend's kind of like cock blocking a little bit. So again, I didn't get anything out of it. I'm thinking, does he still have a girlfriend? I don't really know what's going on. Anyway, so I go home and I check his Instagram. I finally figured out what his name was. All I knew is it began with a J. That's what I was going off, searching through my Instagram followings, like, who is this guy? And he's deleted the pictures of him and the ex-girlfriend. So I'm like, okay, interesting. That's a bit of tea. And I come home for Easter, and I'm just sitting in bed, scrolling on Tinder, as you do, thinking, this is a fun game. And he comes up on my Tinder page. Turns out he'd come home for one night, and that was the one night I downloaded Tinder.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And and he comes up on my page. So I match with him, and I come up as a secret admirer on his Tinder page. And he messages me. And he says something like, I 1000% know you too well for you to be coming up as a secret admirer. I'm like, get to know me a little bit more, baby.
Add a girl.
Anyway, so we start texting, but I was a bit nervous. I didn't want to like ask him out on a date. So I was like, meet me at 12 o'clock at the student union. We'll have a dance, have some drinks. And then I see him in the smokers area. And it's just going really well. Like, he was just we were just on the same vibe. We were on the same wavelength. And he does, like, he leans in to kiss me, and I was kind of doing that, kind of like, I'm gonna hold back for a minute, see what he does. And we ended up kissing, and I see all of his friends like doing thumbs up, looking all giddy. Anyway, so I say to him, look, do you want to walk me home? I want to go home. I want a cup of tea. You can have a cup of tea at mine. We literally talked all night. And I think we heard birds, and I looked out the window and it was literally bright. We'd been talking all night. We just had this kind of connection that was just literally could not stop talking, could not stop laughing. And we're sitting next to each other in bed, and he looks at me and he goes, I know what he was going to say. He was going to say, I love you, but he didn't say he didn't say it. And I've questioned him about it since, and he said I was going to say it, but I couldn't. And it was just that feeling straight away. Anyway, so the next day I'm hungover out my arse, but it's my friend's birthday, so we go up to Nottingham. And I see him in Nottingham, and I'm literally talking about him. And as I talk about him, my friend goes, isn't that him? And I'm like, yep, oh my God. It was so cute. It was like slow motion. He turns around, and I'm looking back over my shoulder at him because we've passed, and he's stayed turned around, walking backwards, looking at me. And then I was like, okay, I'm in love. We saw each other every single day that week, and it was, we were kind of girlfriend and boyfriend straight away from the very beginning. But he asked me to be his girlfriend officially in July, and we've been together for 2 years ever since. And yeah, I moved away from my hometown to come back with a boyfriend from my hometown. So.
Okay, that's an incredibly optimistic and wonderful story. I'm just curious about one thing. You were in Nottingham.
Yes.
Was that where college was?
No, so I went to Loughborough. And I didn't go to Nottingham a lot at all. It was my first time in Nottingham.
Oh yeah, but at least it's the big town nearby. I can understand why if you went to go shopping or
something. We went to get drunk.
Yeah, well, you would do that. Nottingham's a good city for getting drunk in. So yes, Thomasin, have you any questions for this loved up young lady?
First of all, Alyssa, I love how you talk, and I love your confidence. This whole story was reminding me of like a character from the 1940s. Like, you just sound like Mae West. Like, oh, that was a tall glass of water. Kiss my hand. When I'm good, I'm good. When I'm bad, I'm better. Get to know me a little bit better. Like, it was just, you just had a line for everything. And I'm just wondering, is this confidence, was it just because, that connection with him was, it sounded so intense and so great that you just felt confident, or are you usually quite confident anyway when you meet people? And if so, where does that come from?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a weird one. I'm kind of someone that's kind of like fake it till you make it. So I had actually really bad social anxiety, but I did not let that show. And once I've got a drink in me, that social anxiety does not exist anymore. So
yeah, this is what dreams are made of. I'd like to see you in my dreams.
Vodka lime soda, and she's out there. But he's definitely been like a huge part of like my confidence. And with him, it's all from like the comfort and the trust and the happiness. Is it cringy as it is? That's what it is for me with him.
Awesome. And Harper, any questions, observations?
Yeah, so the like kiss the ring move, that is just next level icon. I am wondering, have you pulled that out more than once, or was that just like a flash of inspiration in the moment?
I actually have no clue what came over me. I don't know what that was all about. He was coming up the stairs as well, so I just like kind of like
King John.
It out. Yeah, I haven't done it since. But I think my main thing was the eye contact. That's my main move.
Well done.
Is the eye contact.
Philip, what's your take on this situation?
I have some admin questions, if possible, please. Number one, he was hanging around in the smokers area. Is he a smoker?
No, he's not a smoker.
What was he doing there, vaping?
The smokers, no, I asked him. He does not vape.
He was looking for her.
He was looking for me. The smokers area is where it's just where you go to chat.
With you.
It was fresh air.
Smirking.
Neither of us smoke, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fresh-ish.
Second question. When you said we met at 12, was that 12 midday or midnight?
I'd be a bit worried if it was 12 midday from the night before. No, it was like 12 at night. It was 1 o'clock at night or something. It was a club.
That's a really late date.
Yeah, it was a club. I said to him, like, come meet me at the student union club because I don't want to meet you in person.
Yeah, the club, yeah. And what was your drink of choice at the student union, please? Thank you.
Anything.
The story's making a lot more sense now.
Anything. I think there was a few mixtures going on. I don't remember.
That's brilliant.
Okay, so I think this has been a truly wonderful show. Thank you all very much for joining in. Thomasin, have you anything to say before we wind up?
Just thank you so much for tuning in today. If you liked us, please give us a follow and a like or whatever you can do on the platform you're listening on. Give us a review. As an up-and-coming podcast, reviews really make a difference to our visibility. If you give us 5 stars, I will let you borrow my bed for your next hot date. If you give us 1 star, I'll send Chopper the Bouncer to you. But just before we head, I'd love to give it over to our guests for any final thoughts or projects they're in they'd like to tell you about. We'll start with Harper.
All right. So, yeah, I'm Harper the Fox, basically everywhere online, Harper the Fox Official on Instagram. And I would love for you to go check out my movie. It's called Cops vs. Whores. It's an animated action comedy that Max and I made together, very much inspired by South Park. So I'd love for you to take a look at copsvshores.com.
Amazing. You know the story behind it now. And Phil...
I've got nothing to plug, but I just want to say one word. Don't say yes to everything in life.
Right, okay. And Alicia, do you have anything to plug?
I do not have anything to plug. Just if you're Chopper the Bouncer, this isn't the story that you thought it was. Don't come looking for him.
Just on that note, if Chopper is actually listening, if that guy is listening that worked at Coco's, the nightclub, I'm really sorry for running away, but you freaked me out.
Well, on that note...
We're just winding up now. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you very much for all our guests. It's been wonderful. And we have live shows in Edinburgh Fringe Festival in August. So please do come along. Thomasin will be there for some of them. And we'd love to hear from you in person.
And follow us on our socials at Telling Tinder Tales to get more details on those dates.
So it's goodbye from us, and do give us a follow. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
It was a pleasure.
Goodbye. Thank you.
See you, folks, and good luck.
Bye.
Telling Tinder Tales is hosted and produced by me, Chris O'Neill, and Thomasin Lockwood. Produced and edited by Lucy Regan, with music by Kinkas Moreira. It's a Jesters Comedy Dublin production and is no way affiliated with or endorsed by Tinder. If you have a story to tell, please get in touch. Details are in the show notes. And if you like us, instead of swiping right, follow us on Instagram and or TikTok at Telling Tinder Tales.